Right, we're at the end of May, coming into June, and what a great Pokemon cards to pick up at the end of this month in May. Well, here's the thing with Pokemon singles right now. A lot of them are going up. Things are getting more and more pricey, especially in the Sword and Shield era, but we can pick up some really good deals also in the Scarlet and Violet era before prices start to climb because everything's going up. Pokemon's in a really good place right now, and things are getting more and more expensive. It's just the way it is. So today we'll be taking a look at Pokédata.io at a bunch of different cards and the raw price and the graded prices for these. Let's jump in. Alright, first up we have the Galarian Berserker VOR from Lost Origin. Lost Origin, amazing set, very, very expensive. It is on the uptick. I mean, it's over $220 plus a box. Over here in the UK, you're looking around about 180 to 200 depending where you go. Galarian Berserker, look, it's not the Giratina, it's not going to the moon, but it is doing okay. It is still relatively cheap right now, and I do believe that a lot of the old arts, a lot of the cheaper arts are just great solid pickups. Not all of them are going to be great, but some of them are going to be okay. I mean, look, even the Sandaconda's doubled in value, so there's room. Okay, so we got the Berserker. We're looking at $21 on eBay, 20 in TCG, 23 card markets. Are pretty even across the board. Then we look at PSA 10, 66, and about 600 of them in a PSA 10. So we can take a look at we're going to look at the raw price first. So we'll look at the raw price and TCG player. So give us an idea. So TCG player here is in the orange, and raw is the average market price across the board. Pretty much neck and neck, but then TCG player was actually less than the average market price for some time, and now they're pretty much level, which is quite nice. It's nice to see that. We have seen some sketchy stuff go on with TCG players just going off on its own. But that is very, very consistent. Now let's look at the PSA 10 price. Kind of been up and down really. $40, $60, in around 66. So it is on the highest it's been over the past 6 months. This is still a really good card to pick up. I like it. Pretty cool. I think I've rated it quite highly when I've rated the old arts, but still a very nice card nonetheless. Next up we have a fish. Chi-Yu from Paldea Evolved. I like this card. It's really nice. Beautiful artwork. Now a lot of the special illustration rares are relatively cheap to some extent. Some of them actually hold good value, but in Paldea Evolved, it's all about the Magikarp and the Ono. However, Chi-Yu and some of the other cards in the set are on the uptick. There's been some good illustration rares as well, like the Raichu, who have seen some gains over the past few months. Let's look at the fish. Relatively cheap, less than $20 pickup, 18 raw, 16, 17 TCG player, 22 card market. PSA 10, we're looking at $78, about 500. So you're going to be getting less. One thing you will be noticing is you'll be getting less graded cards, because it's tougher to get 10s because the quality of Scarlet and Violet is not that great. So that will help you having a PSA 10 in the long run for value. So we're looking at the market price compared to TCG player pretty much neck and neck the whole way, which is pretty consistent. We haven't seen TCG player break away from this just yet. However, one thing I will want to show you is the PSA 10 price. So the PSA 10 price did dip to about $42, but now we're looking at 80. So it's doubled from the lowest point at the beginning of the year. Hey, look, people want the fish. Doing pretty well. You can get it at a reasonably good price. I do think it will go up over time. I think a lot of the special illustration rares, like we're seeing with alt arts, will probably go the same way. I don't think they'll probably go maybe as much. Who knows? Don't forget, in Sword and Shield, alt arts are a lot tougher to pull, so that does help them for their value, which we've seen across the board. But look, don't knock the fish. We've got a much cheaper card coming in. We've got the Charizard Trainer Gallery card from Lost Origin. Hey, look, it's Charizard. Big fan favorite. Everybody loves it. And this is a beautiful artwork. We're looking around $4, pretty much. But a PSA 10 is $54. That's insane. Imagine having a card that's more than 10 times the value of PSA 10. That's really good going. And there's less than a 10 than a 9, which is always good to see. So we're looking at PSA 10. It's always been pretty consistent around that $40 to $50 for the longest time. That's actually really good. I'm really intrigued to see the raw. I think the raw's pretty much stayed steady. So yeah, we have only got a little bit of TCG player data here. As you can see, TCG player and the market value are pretty much neck and neck as it was building up. So this is a beautiful one, nice and cheap to pick up, which is always pretty good, and apparently pretty good in the PSA 10. Right, we're going to Evolving Skies. Not everything in Evolving Skies is going crazy, so now's a good time to get some of the more cheaper alt arts. Because some of the others like Golurk and stuff have been going up. Golurk's gone up by like 50% as well. So a lot of them have been making gains. Royal Dawn, Skyscraper Empire, Stay Building coming in. $21. eBay 20, TCG player 32, card market, so a little bit more on card market. PSA 10 though 72, it's not bad, basically triple the value, less than 1,000 the PSA 10. I have never pulled this card ever, which is quite interesting. So we look at the raw price, again neck and neck between the average market and TCG player. It's quite interesting, right, that a lot of the lower tier alt arts from the Sword and Shield era are pretty neck and neck between, you know, average market price and TCG player. Okay, but the big chase cards in the set, average market price is slowly and steady, gradual growth, and TCG players just straight up graphs. Shady stuff. Really interesting to see. And then we look at the PSA 10 price of this, and it's on the uptick, to be fair. PSA 10, I mean, look, it was as low as $30, and now we're looking at 72. That's pretty good going, in my opinion, for the Empire State Building. But yeah, not everything in Evolving Skies is silly expensive. There are still some good cards to get on the cheap, which have much more room to grow. This is definitely one of them. Okay, on to Battle Styles. We're going to look at the Houndoom. Now, we're going to be looking at the Houndoom only because a lot of people were chasing this card. When the set came out, there was a lot of hype around the Houndoom. People absolutely love this card. I love this card, and it's not an art. Okay, that's one thing I will say. It's not an art. Not everything has to be an art from Sword and Shield. Of course, we looked at Training Gallery with the Charizard. But, you know, Boy T-Tar's doing very well. A lot of the arts from Battle Styles are on the uptick. Houndoom, though, is doing reasonably well. We're looking at $52 for a PSA 10, but with the raw price, less than $20, $15, $20. I mean, it is a bit random from 12, 17, 18. But yeah, we're looking around 52 in a PSA 10. Let's take a look at the raw market price. So, okay, we saw TCG Play now overtaking the average market price. The average market price was ahead, probably because of the card market. Whereas the Houndoom is around $10, and now the Houndoom has been going up. We've been seeing that climb with a lot of the Battle Style cards. Battle Styles is a set that is making moves right now. This is definitely one to get on the cheap. That has that potential room to grow. It's, in my opinion, it's like, for me, top 3 card in the set. I think it's like top 5, but a lot of people really do like this, and it's got room, even though it's a gold card. Scarlet and Violet Base, you may be thinking, what? Scarlet and Violet Base cards are on the uptick. Why? Because they're really cheap. You know, they have been cheap for a long time. Booster boxes are getting less and less available. Set's been out over a year. Gardevoir, in my opinion, I think will be the biggest chase card in the set. That's going to be my guess. Who knows? Could still be the Miriam. But I feel like Gardevoir as a whole, more people are interested in the Miriam. Miriam is gone up a little bit. It's around about $30 at the moment. Gardevoir has room to grow. Second most expensive card in the set. 23 on eBay, 26 on TCG Player, 27 card market. PSA 10 around $70 with about 2,000 in a PSA 10. So let's look at the raw market price. Pretty neck and neck. TCG Player making a slight breakaway recently, but pretty steady across the board for the Gardevoir, which is actually, yeah, pretty good. And then we look at the PSA 10 price of this card. Pretty much stable, right? It did reach a high of around 75 and it's sitting around 77. Pretty steady, but still a very good card to keep an eye on. On to Crown Zenith, we got the Secret Rare Pikachu. This is a beautiful card. I still don't have this in my collection, which is so odd. I've opened up so much Crown Zenith. I don't actually have it. It's really weird. So we're looking at a card that's around $10. Not really that expensive, right? How many's grading a 10? Nearly 10,000 in a 10 at $50. Even though it's nearly 10,000, it's still 5 times the value. That's crazy. Let's take a look. This card's been graded a hell of a lot. So look at the raw price. It's now bouncing back up. It has been falling. It was always a cheap card anyway, but now we're starting to see a climb. TCG Player, we're now starting to see that climb going up, breaking away from the average market price. This is still going to be a good card. It's not going to be like the biggest card in the set because that's the gold cards that we've seen with the Giratina and the rest of them. But the Pikachu is still going to be up there. It's still going to be a big fan favorite. Yes, there's a lot graded, but it's cheap. Pretty good. When we look at the PSA price, let's take a look. Has it been going up? I kind of feel like the PSA price has been doing pretty well. So PSA 10, yeah, I mean, no matter how many's graded, I mean, it was low around below 40 and is now on the uptick back up to 50. That's still pretty good going. And then we have the Iridar. This one, I think, from Crown Zenith will do quite well. I have a feeling some of the trainer cards down the line from the Sword and Shield era will actually do quite well. And I think the Iridar will be definitely one of them. So we're looking at $15 on eBay, 16 TCG Player, 15 card market, PSA 10, $40, And we got the population a lot lower than the Pikachu. A lot lower, even though the value is a lot less, which is kind of strange. So let's take a look at the PSA 10 price. It's actually on the decline with PSA 10. It was around 45 and is now slowly dipping to drop below 40. But then we look at the raw price, and again we're starting to see neck and neck, but the TCG player just slightly breaking away a little bit. This is still a relatively cheap card. We've seen a lot of the big Crown Zenith cards start ticking up. This is definitely going to be one to look out for. I don't see it's going to be an insanely expensive card. This is definitely one to look out for, because I do feel like the full art trainers, especially the female ones, like we saw with Sun and Moon, had a bit of a waifu boom. We could be seeing that with Sword and Shield. Who knows? We've already kind of seen it anyway with Scarlet and Violet. They're really pushing a lot of these trainers. So we could see that possibly happen in the future with Sword and Shield. Who knows? There you have it, guys. Those are just some cards to pick up. They're relatively cheap. I've chosen cheap cards today rather than really expensive cards. A lot of the Sword and Shields on the uptick. Scarlet and Violet, loads of plays to make, loads of good moves you can buy, loads of good cards you can pick up. Sword and Shield though, you gotta be careful, because the big chase cards, I have a feeling, are in a bubble. I think they will fall. We've seen it with Sun and Moon. I will be doing a video talking about that coming up, so make sure to check out that one. I do feel like the arts are a bit of a bubble right now. I genuinely do. I don't think that they're going to stay at where they are. It's a lot of hype going on. Now, I'm not saying that in a year's time they're going to be dropping like flies, but I do feel like they'll drop from the highs. I made a rhyme, didn't even mean to. So there you are. Those are some cards that you can pick up and add into your collection right now and invest in. Good graded prices for some of these cards as well, which is always a good one to get an extra bit of value for your cards. If you made it so far to the video, guys, and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button and make sure you subscribe for more Pokemon content. And let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Is there any other cards you think are great pickups right now? And what are your thoughts on the top cards? Would you think they're worth picking up? I think they're a little bit too pricey in my opinion. We'll have to wait and see. But if you want to know what's going on in the single cards market right now, then make sure to click the video on the screen. If you watch more Pokemon content, guys, you know what to do. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, that's it from me in today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, you guys are legends. And I'll see you in the next one.